Okay, guys, so I have Shelby McQueenie on here with me today talking about all things Instagram, the 5 do's and the 5 don'ts. We've worked together. We just figured out 4 years. We don't know if it's 4 days, 40, like, oh my gosh, it's been a whirlwind. Yeah. But I've seen you grown so much with social media. And there's people that do social media, and guys, they got a lot of following, 20,000 followings, but you go on Home Snap and you see how much they're selling and you're like, oh, that's not so much. So this is like 20 million a year consistent volume. And you've built up a lot on, on Instagram mostly, would you say?
Yeah, Instagram and a few LinkedIn last year too.
Yeah. But we're really Instagram heavy, and there's a way to do things strategically to lead generation, not just, hey, I'm out and about today having fun. I mean, some of this is strategic. You were just at that choo-choo bar in Loretto with the kids, yeah. Right? That was so cute. So some of this is, and that's personal, but that's strategic too. To have personal, because people want to know you and like you. So some of that is, but there's definitely ways that are thoughtful without getting overwhelmed. I think people can also get overwhelmed because there can be so much to do, but we're trying to just make it like simple. Keep it simple, stupid, right? Like keep it simple. So let's start with your 5 do's. The 5 do's on Instagram.
Yeah. And I feel like, I was always on social media, like in real estate, but I feel specifically the last 12 months, like I now get it. And like, I get leads from Instagram. I was before, but there is a strategy to it. And there are things to do and to don't.
But to that point, guys, it can take time. Like it's taken time for us to build up our networks. It's not overnight. Yeah. People don't always think, okay, you're a realtor. Are you still a realtor? Like people come and go in and out of the industry, right? Like you have to prove over time, but if you stay consistent, it can very, very much work.
Yeah. So, number 1 for do is post value add content. So there's 3 reasons why someone goes on Instagram. It's to be entertained, to be inspired, or to be educated. Those are the 3 reasons why. Okay. So whenever, I post something, I'm like, how does this add value? Just sold and just listed are great and you have to post them, but there has to be more value add content to your post. And so maybe instead of just saying just sold, maybe tell a story about it, right? Sold in multiple offers. We had 50 showings, 70 people to the open house, sold, $50K over asking or whatever.
Way more valuable than sold, me. That's way more valuable.
People remember stories. They don't always remember the house that's sold.
I think I need to get better at that too, but I think I'm starting to do more of that 30,000 over because people want to know like, oh my God, or they want to see the inside of it. So we're showing more images as well. I think with buyers too, like instead of on the listing side, like it's not like my seller wants to get personal and have a picture of them really because they're like out of there. But for buyers, if you are telling more of a story like that too, and it's more of it's them in a photo, I think that can be strategic too and more fun.
Yeah.
And then back before you go on, adding value, figure out what your adding value is. Like, what is that? Like for us, we like trends. We like pretty home trends and people want to see that home of parade. Parade of homes is coming up. Like people don't have time to like go in them, but they want to see them. They want to see the trends. They want to see the $2 million, $1.5 million home. They want to see all that. So that to us, like is a big value. Our clients love that. We have people follow just for that reason. So adding value, not just because somebody is buying or selling, but maybe they'll see this. You're really, really, really involved. You're showing it. And then they're like, oh, my cousin wants to sell or whatever, call Shelby.
Yep.
So figure out, it doesn't have to be trends. If you're somebody like you don't I don't know, maybe, I don't know what it is, but find something to add value.
Condos, first-time home buyers, duplexes, investment properties. I mean, this real estate industry is so big. What do you focus on? Okay. Number 2. So be authentically you. So show up, show your face, and show your voice. So people want to know you, not just your company, right? Like they want to see the person behind the brand, behind the company. People work with people they like, know, and trust, right? We hear it all the time. People want to like you. And that's how you're also going to attract your ideal clientele. the most?
I think it's really hard to do this. Truthfully, now, I mean, if you follow me, you see that I post a lot of, me and selfies and videos. That was never my go-to. I never liked doing that before this business. I was not even on Facebook. So it is not my thing, but I will say this, if it changes your life, are you willing to do it? People want to know you, and it doesn't have to be the perfected stuff.
No.
People way more look at stuff that's candid than they do the perfected, even though we do pro video with Jay, who's on here. Even though we do that, we still get in there and we do our social content of, hey guys, coming soon, just want to give you a sneak peek, right? Like they want to see, and that, I guess that's kind of a bad example. What was your point? Be authentic?
Yeah, be authentic. Just be you. Show your personality.
And some of your personal life, like have
Yes.
boundaries around it. I have boundaries around it. I do not show everything, but people want to know. I mean, the stuff that's more personal, how many more likes? I mean, are you getting a lot of likes, more likes on that?
Way more likes. Yeah. Like on family, personal stuff, all the things. I mean, and then again, it's relatable to people too,
Yep.
right? Like for me, I have 2 young boys. So like a lot of families and people with young kids, like my stuff, I'm relatable to them. It's similar times in their life. So show that you're like a real person and that you're authentic.
Yep.
Okay, number 3. So identify and speak to your followers. So this has been a game changer to my business within the last year. It's so important to actually understand who are your followers, like when you're chatting with them and not just posting to post, right? Like who are the people that follow you? What do they want to learn about you? There's a reason why they're following you versus another realtor or another lender. I see some lenders on here or whatever it may be. Who are you trying to attract? You really have to look at your following and your current clientele and hone in on that. Like you have a lot of listings, your listing focus. So you have a lot of sellers that you're talking with, right?
Mhm.
For me, I do a lot of move up buyers,
Yeah.
new construction. That's what I show. You'll look on my Instagram. I don't speak to a lot of first time home buyers because the majority of my following are move up buyers. Not to say that I won't work with first time home buyers because I absolutely will. I have a few right now, but the majority are move up.
Yes. Well, think of who your clientele, and this gives me a big to do, Allie. We need to put this on my list. Is right now, I'm going to be an empty nester soon. Like so many people around me and my age are going to be empty nesters. This is the information that I need to start giving and talking to them. Hey, what should you be doing right now before you sell? What should you start thinking about a year in advance? Think about who you're talking to. And then, you're posting around that, you're videoing around that. And you're again, back to your number 1, you're adding value to your clientele on that.
Yeah. Yesterday, I just did a post on my story. And I did this because it was cute, but I also did it strategically as well. I had an elderly seller. And so when I posted that, I said elderly seller was happy, best experience with selling his home. But I'm like, a lot of my following have older parents too, who will be looking to sell soon too. So it was like another touch point with hitting lead generation, I guess. Okay, number 4. So be consistent with posting and make it a goal to post once a day, just once a day.
And it depends on if you're full-time realtor or you're part-time, but I will continue to say a lot of part-time people don't add as much value in this business. Sorry if you are, but there's a lot of part-time people on the other side of the equation. When I'm a listing agent and they don't get their paperwork in, or, they're a part-time agent. So we're picking up the pieces. But if you are a full-time agent, you need to show up. If you want this to be a lead gen tool,
Yes.
You need to show up every day. Talk about, there's places that, guys, we pull over in our car and post stuff all the time, but there also is a more strategic way to do that. What about some of these apps that you can use?
Yeah, so there's a Later, which you can schedule your posts through Instagram as well as auto publish to Facebook. So you can plan ahead for your week on your posts. Is there any other? Isn't it just Later?
There's Later, there's Planoly, there's different ones. We just use Facebook. Yeah, we just use Facebook.
Oh, you do?
What's it called? Facebook.
It's like a business suite.
Facebook Business Suite. But time block then. If you are somebody not getting to it, go sit at a coffee shop, go park yourself somewhere where you time block 2 hours and you plan your whole week.
Mhm.
right? You do everything all at once. So there's no excuses. You can do that. And, being consistent really, really, really matters. We post twice a day. I have somebody now after 7 years helping me with social media. So I can, whatever, but still I'm showing up too. And so sometimes it's 3 times. I think you can post too much. Like every once in a
Yes,
while, I'm
I
like,
agree.
okay. And Allie's like, oh my gosh, like
It's a
every
lot.
once in a while we have a lot of content. So I think you have to be careful of not posting too much and showing up too. How many times a day do you post?
I go back and forth between 1 and 2 because I know, like me, I get really annoyed when I see people post multiple times a day. And I think it's more so the quality of information that you're providing versus the quantity. Because if you post 2 or 3 times a day, every single day, 7 times a week, I feel like I would unfollow someone. But if you post one really good post, 1 or 2 good posts a day, people will actually take the time to, that's just how I think about it, to read it.
And I love people putting questions in here. Thank you for Dina and Kirsten. You guys keep doing that and we'll get to them at the end.
Yeah. And I was actually going to say that. So thanks for saying that, Dina. Make sure that you're posting on your grid, right? Your actual post at least once a day or twice, but also your stories. So like your grid, and this is how I was taught, like your grid is almost your resume. Someone goes to it, they kind of do like a brief look at it. Do I kind of like what she's about? And then they go to the stories, and that's what you kind of feel about the personality and their day-to-day activities. So personality for stories, and then kind of like your resume for the grid.
And it's nice because those stories go away. You can do something, it doesn't live on the grid, right? It's not quite important enough, whatever. Or it's just like, but how do you feel then about posting from grid to stories? Like every once in a while I do that, not all the time. How do you feel about that?
So I think that, and we can kind of chat about this for don'ts, but like you need your content to be engaging, right? So like sometimes if I do like a reel on my actual grid, I will post it to my stories, but then I'll do a question and then they have to pick, right? Either, do you love blue cabinets or whatever, something really basic, either yes or no. And then it's also conversation starters in your DM, because Instagram cares about the engagement and you're engaging with people. It's a social network. That's the point of Instagram. It's not just a post, not doing any engaging with your followers.
So asking those questions, and I need to be better about that too, but even just asking yes, no, gosh, I had one and it was so silly lately. It wasn't even a big deal. And it was like over 100 people engaged. And it wasn't like, usually I'm like blue cabinets and it's like, I'll get 20 people, but it was something random. I don't know what it is, but doing that, then you'll rank higher in those algorithms and you'll get in front of more people. So getting engagement, however you do that, whether it's questions, is super important.
Yeah. And you're right. I mean, sometimes the most random things you'll get the most engagement on. I mean, you said Loretto Choo Choo Bar, which is so funny because I had so many comments about that, like best place. Have you been to this like big boy restaurant out in Hanover, all the things. And so
even I was like, oh, I recognize. Yeah.
Like it's kind of funny, some of the comments that you get more in the personal stuff than the actual real estate stuff. But I feel like, again, people want to know you, they want to conversate with you, and they get to know your personalities.
Yep.
Okay, should we move on to the don'ts?
Yeah.
Okay, so the 5 don'ts. Okay, number 1, don't copy and paste. Okay, I see a lot of like resharing of stuff, like maybe like 5 steps in getting pre-approved. Maybe take that as your inspiration and come up with your own 5 tips, or reword it to your voice and to your brand. I feel like when things start to get a little bit too general, you don't know what realtor is posting what. You don't know their voice, right? It's just kind of like a copy and paste. It seems really impersonal. So brand it to your voice, use your voice, your tone.
And it's so typical. Like, I mean, people that we follow, it's like, oh, somebody posted that. Oh, keeping current matters. And I've been guilty of it too. Like, oh, everyone's posting that. So just, I mean, sometimes it's good stuff and maybe you want to do that, but just think about how you can be different and not be posting all the same stuff that everyone else is.
Yeah. Data is good to show. Okay. Number 2, don't post and ghost. And I was guilty of this for so long, you guys. I would post and then I would never respond back to the comments. And then I would look like 7 days later, I'm like, oh gosh, this person just asked me a question. And I had to like change my mindset on like, no, like this is engaging content. People want to engage with you, start conversations. This is a conversation tools. Remember, this is your lead generation if you want it to. Versus me, I didn't want to pick up the phones, and you can only chat with, make so many calls within a day. Think about the reach of people you have with your following on Instagram. It's far more than you could do with dialing. So make sure that you're engaging with people on conversations, and it doesn't just have to be, don't feel like you always just have to sell them on real estate, right? Like you can get to know them on their personal life, and maybe they'll buy and sell later down the road, or who knows, maybe they'll refer you to someone that they know who is actively looking.
Yeah.
Okay. 3, don't focus on perfection. And I feel like, we can all kind of struggle with this. Like, oh gosh, I just want to make sure everything's perfect. Like, do I look okay? I just posted something the other day, and it was kind of embarrassing, but it was a typo on my stories. And I was like, I don't even care, because at least I'm putting out content. I mean, you want to make sure that it's kind of buttoned up.
Oh,
But it's okay
it was
to
just
make
a typo.
It was a typo.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. I
Okay,
mean,
too. I'm human, right? Like I'm not.
and you and I are too similar sometimes. I have people all the time being like, Kelly, it's that you spelt this wrong. Yeah, that's a lot of my engagement is my punctuation.
Yes. Okay.
Just kidding.
I will say like a quick story, but do you guys know Grant Cardone?
Yeah.
Okay. So I follow him on Instagram, and he's always like, yeah, I had someone call me about my award-winning book and said, but Grant, you have 12 typos in your book on page 77, 79, whatever. And he goes, yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you mean? This is an award-winning book. It's made me millions of dollars. So I've always looked at that for inspiration too. Like, so we're human, be authentic, be real. No one's perfect.
Yeah. Don't let perfection in so many things. I mean, and I say this to myself, like make you not do anything, right? Like just do it. Just do it, put it out there, make sure it's, authentic and, adding value, but put it out there.
Yeah, totally. Okay. Number 4, don't shy from video. And I feel like you can totally speak on this because you did so many videos in the beginning when no one was doing videos.
Yeah. So it's free, guys. Like this is all stuff we're talking about that's free. And for me, when I changed careers, when I was 40, I didn't have any money to like be buying Zillow ads. So all of a sudden I started doing video and trying to add value. And, even like 5 people would come or like even like it. And I would be at like a baseball game and somebody would say, hey, I saw that development. Hey, so I knew more people were seeing it.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, I need to keep doing this. It's just something where you can show up yourself. People get to know you. When I go on a listing, oh my gosh, it was so funny. I just this morning talked to somebody, a seller. I haven't met with that. I met with them over a month ago. So I just check in and I'm like, hey, how you doing? And she's like, well, I haven't talked to you in a month, but I feel like I feel like I'm talking to you every day.
Yes.
Cause so it's adding value and stuff on that, like with video, but video's free. It's not comfortable. It's still not comfortable for me. Oh my gosh, that video the other day for the Twin City Real Producer magazine. Oh my God, that was so tragic. Oh yeah, you didn't see all of it because it got edited out, but it makes me nervous when it's a big production, like if there's lights and people and all. I'm just better on my own. And so here's the deal, like you can record 50 videos. For me, I know that I get more nervous the more videos I do. So, and I also just don't have the time anymore. And I've been doing now it for years, so I can nail it quicker, but you just have to do it and get more comfortable with it. And all the trainings last year that we went to, our EXP stuff, everyone's talking about, it's absolutely so important to incorporate video.
Mhm.
Don't be annoying. Don't be too long, add value. But yeah, I think it's really, really, really important. And then you go to a listing appointment, they're like, oh, I already feel like I know you.
Mhm.
And they already like you and they're not meeting with anyone else. They're only meeting with you. And guess what? They might not like you too. I'm sure there's plenty of people and it's hard to be vulnerable like this.
Mhm.
And there's definitely crap I get every once in a while and things get said and come back to me. But you know what? You just stay in your lane and you be you.
Mhm.
And you attract the people that you're supposed to. I really like my clients. I attract people
too.
that are like me.
Dream clients.
Yeah. And the ones that aren't and not a right fit,
Okay.
they don't even contact me. So it's all right.
Yeah. And I will say with video, like for me, I try to show up as much as I can, especially on stories. At least people are seeing me on stories, but on my actual grid, I don't always have the time to post like videos of me talking. And so one thing that I've started to incorporate, and I really try to find like my voice and like my brand in real estate, but as a busy mom, I started to put like my tips and tricks is what I call them, my tips and tricks reel with words over videos. And so that way it's making a reel. And so there's still a lot of engagement on it. And now I feel like for me, I don't always have video on Instagram, but I always read
The
stuff.
captions. It's so important to always have those captions on. And you can just pick that, whether you're doing a reel or not in Instagram, you can choose captions.
Mhm.
There's places where I can't listen and I will never, like, whatever I'm doing, and I'm, probably not supposed to be on,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I am, right? And there's no way I'm going to listen and I'll never circle back, but I can read captions. So I think strategically, it's so important to have those captions.
Yeah. And it's easy to put together same day, right? If you're like, oh, I need a value add content that's, high engagement. That's always a good option too. There was something else I was going to say, but I can't remember about it. You should be posting reels. If you're not, you're behind. That's what someone told me.
Yeah, but okay. So Allie too, we've heard recently, and by the way, guys, things change all the time, and recommendations. Just show up, just do it. Pick if it's Instagram, show up and do it. If your demographic is on Instagram, show up and do it. We've heard recently that reels are down, haven't we?
Yeah, they're not as pushed as much.
They're not as pushed, but whatever. We're
Yeah.
still
I mean, they're
doing
still
them.
great.
We're still doing them. And guys, we're repurposing stuff. So that's a different topic too. But if you're doing a reel, maybe you're repurposing and you're putting it on Facebook. Maybe it's going on LinkedIn, wherever else it's possibly going.
Yes.
Different subject, but okay.
Yep. Okay. And then last but not least, don't post last minute. We kind of talked about this earlier, but time block and get your content scheduled for the week. So, maybe you do it every Monday, at 9 a.m. That's just when you do your social media for the week. You come up with your captions, you come up with your imagery. So that way you don't have to think about, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Everything's already scheduled and later for you, and it'll be auto published. So that's been a game changer too, is when you actually time block for your week.
Yeah, you have to. Otherwise, like for us, it hasn't always been like that, and things are chaotic, and there's definitely times where we're behind. But if you will feel more like put together and thoughtful and not crazy, because we're all working so much, right?
Yeah.
If you just, time block and use a program. I used to use Later all the time, and we don't use that now, but okay. So, hey, some of you have some really good questions. Put any questions in here. Hey, I have a question for, and I want some, Kirsten, you said your last broker said personal and real estate stuff has to be posted on separate accounts. Are you still on here? And tell me who was that broker that said that?
I was with Realty One Group Choice, and yeah, they said it's required to have 2 separate accounts and you can't mix them. So you can't post, here's a picture of me and my cute dog on your real estate one, and then vice versa. And
I'm gonna call that old school. So everyone should just I don't know all the rules. I'm not always perfect, but I know we've been doing this for a long time, and we mix in personal.
But there was someone from our team that did training at MAR, and they brought up your social media Instagram account and said, this is how you should be marketing yourself. So I feel like if that wasn't accurate, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Different people have different rules.
Yeah.
I'd say just be you. Yeah.
Okay, because I feel like it's been hurting me not being able to be more personal on my real estate.
You have to be very careful in your whole life and in this business of what advice you take from people, and that you're partnered with the right people, because that to me is really bad advice. But you have to do you and figure it out. You can see what we're doing, and you can see that we've grown our businesses on social media, and we're not in trouble for it.
Okay, well, thank you. Cool. I'll start doing that.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, guys, any other questions? Hey, Tim, I like what you're saying. Talk to us.
Yeah. So if you're not following Broke Agent Media, which is, I think, technically just BAM now, they're really great about giving you a lot of good content, and a lot, even subscribing to their newsletter. They send you at the start of every month, here are some content ideas for the beginning of the month. They're also really great on their podcasts. They've got 3 of them. I listen to all of them. But on one of them, they talk about the Instagram updates all the time. And they talk about the fact that right now, the current Instagram algorithm basically has crushed engagement across the board. Specifically, Reels are way down. But they said carousel posts are now coming way back up, which are slideshows.
I've heard of
the
that.
slideshows.
The slides.
Just images, 10 images on an Instagram.
Yep. Start with a good hook on that first image. And as soon as they start swiping through it, it pushes to the algorithm that you're interacting with it. And therefore, they're going to get more of that stuff in their feed.
So Tim, then it's just like post more images then. It's not necessarily that you're putting it in a special carousel. It's just images.
Yeah. So if you just choose 2 pictures, that's technically a carousel because it all of a sudden makes it into a slideshow where you have to swipe right to go through the images. So
Allie and I were talking about this because we heard that reels are down or whatever, and we're still doing them. But
Yeah.
I'm always, and granted, I'm 47, so I'm like, okay, what's cool? Like, help me know what is going on here. But I've always liked photos better. Like, we'll do a reel, but I'll tell, we'll also post those images, and that's important to me. And I think that's what you're saying is those images just to post, and maybe not just one, but multiple. Okay. Hey, what is that?
Broke Agent Media. So it used to be like the Broke Agent meme account started its own media company. Very much their design is to be kind of like a bar stool of realtor news. And it is a phenomenal resource for all of it. They've got like 3 great podcasts. And then every morning, Byron Lazine does a live YouTube show, which is 30 minutes. It's called The Hot Sheet, and it breaks down the last 24 hours of real estate news. So you are actually up to date on what people should know.
Do you think if you only had so much time and you wanted to listen to them, what would you do? Would you do the podcast?
I would do the podcast, which I believe, let me take a look here in my podcast app. I'm in my car a lot, working a lot of buyers. So the walkthrough is the big one I listen to. Otherwise, there's also the Real World. And then the one I just discovered is Knowledge Brokers, which is very interesting in the fact that they are taking all of the stats coming out of places like Fannie and Freddie and the Fed and breaking it down in a very digestible way. So that way you're actually guiding your clients based on data and not based on, well, this is what I'm seeing in the market right now, not this is where the market might be heading.
Totally. I really like that. Okay. So hold on. There's different podcasts. Do these Broke Agent Media, do they have a podcast, or are you saying different podcasts?
Nope. They have a podcast. I'll screenshot it and put it in the chat because there are.
I love it. But that
3 of them.
podcast is probably Broke Agent Media.
They are the publisher, and then they have sub podcasts of each of them. So like Over Ask, I know they've had Tina on that one before. Massive Agent is another one where they moved underneath the brand, and I'm actually in their coaching program right now. I'll let you know reviews on that as I go through it, but it's interesting so far.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Any else? Let's see here. We're looking at questions. Mercedes. How do you other mamas on the team handle posting your personal life when you have young kids? You created a separate Instagram account. Okay. So we've had this question go on, guys, because we've had some creepy things happen with kids. So what would you say on that? You got to be careful what you post.
Yeah. You know what? Okay. I have been kind of changing. Like, I don't show a lot of my kids on my profile anymore. I used to, but people have been hacked, and it's really creepy when you see a hacker take a picture of not only you, but like your little kid, right? So I have been posting less of my little kids on my actual profile. On my stories, I will, but there are other ways that you can post your personal life on your profile grid too. I mean, you could do it at, happy hour with friends, or, events that you go to. Your kid doesn't necessarily have to be involved for you to show your personal life. I mean, we did, when I was updating my house, I would show rental projects, or my flip. I know it's real estate related, but it's also kind of fun too and personal. So there's other avenues that you can show your personal life without just showcasing your kid. And so you need to think about that. Hobbies, whatever that may be, trips.
But you have to make rules and set boundaries around that. And we've had some scary things where it's been not really, but I feel like we had this like 3 weeks ago on the team where it just got a little bit creepy. Yeah.
It's creepy.
Okay. So I think we're good. Anyone else want to ask questions here? Yeah, I mean, somebody's saying here, Ariel's saying you have to follow your local MLS rules and regs. So I will say on any of this, yes, follow all the rules. You guys follow all the rules. We're just telling you what we've done to grow our business. We're not perfect. We don't want to break any rules, but this is what we've done. And I just, would advise always, ask your broker rules, state rules before you do anything. and don't say Kelly Brown told me, because I've heard that. And so sometimes like I have to be really careful what I say, because I'm like, I'm not Mar, I'm not perfect, I'm not right. I just know what I've done to grow my business.
Yeah. There's one new message.
Okay, so I think we're good.
I have one more message.
Down here.
Yeah. Oh, do the same rules apply to Facebook? Oh,
With what? Do the same rules apply to Facebook with what?
I didn't want that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, okay, so that the one thing I will say with me, and everyone is different, so you guys got to figure out what you want. On Instagram, I have one account. I don't flip back and forth from personal to business. I have one account. On Facebook, I do have a personal and I have a business account. So my business account, I will strategically make sure that I have something personal on there probably once a week. Okay. And now remember what I said too, guys, I was never on Facebook. So before. So now I have to tell myself, and I have a rule for myself every week on my personal page, I have to post something, but it's not real estate related. I don't post on my Facebook. This is a different subject, but I don't post sold and all the crap on, sorry, I don't mean that. Anything business on my personal Facebook page, because I find that annoying when people do that. However, there's people that do it. There's a rock star photographer, rock star realtor who does it all the time, and he does very well. So you have to figure out what works for you. I just don't. For me, I forget to post on personal. I know if people elect to follow me on business, they're electing, right? And personal, I feel like a lot of times, okay, so like we were just at the awards. I don't think we posted on that yet. I will make sure I remember to post the team like awards that we were just at on my personal, but it's kind of more fun.
Yeah.
It's more fun stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't post anything on my personal Facebook page, really, to be honest. It can be kind of
That's
annoying.
business.
But the
That's
business Facebook page, I will say Instagram is it's a totally different social media platform than Facebook is. Okay. They're not the same. So whatever you post on Instagram, we're talking about posting once a day, maybe twice a day on Instagram. Me personally, I would not be putting every post I do on Facebook or on Instagram, published to my Facebook business page. I kind of pick and choose, right? Like I do all my just listed, just sold. I try to do some personal, but I'm not posting like all my pretty photos that I post on Instagram to my Facebook page.
Yeah. Be careful to make it different, right? But know that there's different audiences. So you guys have to pick, is Instagram your audience? Is it your demographic? It's a younger demographic. For me, the majority, I'm 47, the majority of my people are on Facebook. I don't love Facebook as much. I have to remember to go on there because there's a ton of people my age that are on Facebook and they're not on Instagram.
Yeah.
So you just have to strategically think about that and be where your audience is and be where you're comfortable. You have to find a way, guys, at some point to like doing this. I used to not like it. Now I enjoy it. It's kind of fun. I'm adding value. I feel good about it if I add value, right? So I make it fun. So find a way that makes it fun for you, that you don't feel like it's a total headache and you don't want to do it. Because back a long time ago when I first started this, I was like, so I used to be a wedding photographer and I didn't do any social media. And I'm like, I didn't want to, I didn't do it. I didn't learn it. So when I switched careers, I hired somebody, but it was never authentically me. And that did not work. So, and then I decided, okay, I'm going to do it. And then I started to like it. So just make sure you find something that you like, and find ways in this that you like, and then do it.
And I will just, say this too. I feel like real estate, we do so many transactions, realtors as a whole, that sometimes we forget that emotions are involved. It's very relationship based, right? And so I would just continue to encourage everyone to show that on your Instagram account. Like, you are relationship based, right? You do genuinely care for that client. You're a person too. You're not just like a sterile business, I guess.
Okay, last question. Do you try and drive traffic / followers from Facebook over to Instagram? Yeah, I mean, if they're on it, I'll follow people. I'll follow people and hope that they follow me back if they're on there. But sometimes they are different audiences.
I personally get more leads from Instagram than I do Facebook. I did get one lead from Facebook last year, but she was a part of my network, but she just followed me on my Facebook page. So I would say you need to figure out, exactly what you said. Where is your ideal clientele? Are they mostly on Facebook or are they on Instagram? And then I would focus that in. Like, for me, my number one focus is Instagram. So I pour most of my energy into that. And then it's Facebook, and then it's LinkedIn.
And if you're just starting, obviously on both. So Facebook, you can post to Instagram. You can check it. It can go to Instagram. Instagram, vice versa, same thing. Instagram, you can post to Facebook. If you're struggling with, you know, posting in the beginning, I would do that. We still do that. We post back and forth, but not all the time and not everything, right? So, but, you know, again, for me, there's times where I forget about Facebook a little bit, and I want to make sure for the people that are just on Facebook and not Instagram that something gets posted over. That's the easy way to do it. Be careful how much you do it, but I would do it. I do it. Okay, so I think we're good. So guys, we'll continue to, thank you for being on here. We'll continue to do more and more and more. We've grown our businesses with social media, so we'll continue to do more. I have Taya coming up. She's doing a training soon. We were happy to have everyone on here. These are always for our EXP expansion partners and our team. And if you're somebody that is not on that, and we're happy to give you one-time codes every once in a while. If you're finding more value here than you are at your current brokerage and like our trainings and want to talk about what partnering looks like, just reach out anytime. Okay, thanks guys. Thanks for being on. Later.
Bye.